Who are we? And what are we called to do? How often do we think about that? On a personal level, but also on a parish level. I hope we think about it all the time. And when we think about it, how seriously do we really think about it? Do we try to be comfortable? Or are we willing to challenge ourselves? As an Episcopal priest, I do a lot of discernment. I discern all the time, and I hope we all do that. I hope we all do discernment, both as individuals and as a parish. Now, I understand, in fairness, that I do some things that people find a little unconventional. And I do feel called to use my voice to speak for those whose voices are frequently silenced. And I feel called to challenge those who are comfortable. And I feel called to comfort those who, for whatever reason, feel afflicted. I feel called to try to help level the playing field. And leveling the playing field sometimes makes people angry. Because people, as humans, feel entitled to what they believe is rightfully theirs. Things we've always had. It's just human nature. And you know this if you're a parent of more than one child. Because it's very common for an oldest child to feel jealous of all the attention that the younger sibling now has. No, it's not because the younger sibling is getting more attention. It's just that now the attention that used to only belong to that older sibling is now also given to the younger sibling. My wife Brandy has a great photo of her youngest daughter as a baby, covered with the entire contents of a bottle of baby powder. Now, why was she covered with an entire bottle of baby powder? Well, because her older sister poured it on her when her parents weren't looking. Now, why did she do this? Because she was jealous. She had been the only person getting all of the attention. And now someone else, someone new, is also getting attention. It feels unfair. It isn't unfair, but that doesn't mean it doesn't feel that way. And the passage that we just heard from Luke's Gospel has an instance of 10 people who are in need of healing from leprosy. And they all receive that healing from Jesus. Now, 9 of them are healed and then just go on with their lives. But the 10th one praises God. And the 10th one, we're told, is a Samaritan. Now, what's the significance of being told that that 10th person is a Samaritan? I think we hear it all the time about somebody being a good Samaritan. And I think the message of being a good Samaritan can have a tendency to become lost. Because we hear stories all the time on the news about how a good Samaritan saved a puppy from traffic. Or a good Samaritan saved somebody's life by performing CPR. Or even the firefighters who went into the World Trade Center on September 11th to save lives. We hear them described as good Samaritans. And this is actually a misuse of that term. Now, it's not to diminish those efforts, by the way, because those people are heroes. But they're not good Samaritans. Unless, of course, they were people who were unexpected heroes. You see, the Samaritans were despised by the Judeans. And the reason the story of the Good Samaritan stands out for us is because it was everyone else who came before the Good Samaritan who really should have helped that injured man. But it was the Samaritan, the least likely person, the person who should have just gone on his way and ignored him, who paid attention and saved the young man's life. And in our story today, we have another example of a Samaritan, an unlikely character, behaving appropriately, while everyone else kind of behaves inappropriately. The Samaritan, the bad guy, is the one who thanks God. And the others, who are supposedly devout, just go on with their lives as if they're taking their healing for granted, as if they just should be healed. The others just kind of expected Jesus to heal them. But the Samaritan, the one who's probably not used to getting his way in this environment, is the one who offers gratitude. The Samaritan is the one who gets Jesus' favor. Now, does this mean that the other 9 are bad? And no, the answer is no. Of course they're not bad. But they're kind of used to getting their way. So they just don't appreciate it as much. They take it for granted. It's the Samaritan, the outcast, the one who's usually neglected and abused and forgotten about. It's the Samaritan who recognizes the blessing that he now has. The same blessing, by the way, that everyone else has, but now he has it too. And the playing field is level. So who do we feel called to be? Do we as a parish feel called to be a place where the comfortable people stay that way at the expense of keeping the afflicted away? Or do we feel like we're ready to be okay with being uncomfortable? I know where I stand, but this isn't my church. This is our church. So the question is, where do we stand together? Where does St. John stand? I don't know if you've paid attention to the news, but believe it or not, there's a lot of unrest in our country and in the world these days. And there are a lot of people who say we shouldn't be political in church. And you want to know something? That's nonsense. That's nonsense. The church must be political. And the politics that we preach in church are the politics of the gospel. Not partisan, mind you, but political. And sometimes people mistake political for partisan, and that makes people feel uncomfortable. You see, as humans, it makes us feel uncomfortable when we're challenged in our comfort, and we don't like to be uncomfortable. But guess what? Now is the time to become more comfortable with being uncomfortable. Now is the time to challenge ourselves to make our space a space of healing and of sanctuary for those who feel like they've been cast aside. And this means we're going to have to be okay with things just feeling different. You see, Jesus didn't come into the world to accept the status quo. If the status quo had been good enough, we wouldn't have needed Jesus to come be with us. We could have just gone on as normal. And yet, Jesus came to dwell among us and to show us a different way. A way of love, and a way of compassion, and a way of caring for one another, and a different way of thinking, and a different way of living. A way that gave comfort to those who were suffering, and a way that challenged the comfort of those who were in positions of power. And what did we do? We put him on a tree. We weren't ready for it then. And a whole lot of people aren't ready for it now. But we are. We are. Even if we're not, we are. You see, we're not here to just keep the status quo. We're here to shake things up. We are here to bring good news to those who feel like outcasts. We are here to feed the hungry. We are here to clothe the naked. We are here to welcome the stranger and to be the voice for those who feel like they have no voice. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. This weekend, we had our diocesan convention. And I shared with some of the people there that sometimes I feel like an outcast. And as an outcast, I kind of feel like I have to operate within the boundaries of the Episcopal Church, but in a lot of ways I kind of do my own thing. And St. John's is kind of the same way. St. John's is not your run-of-the-mill Episcopal Church, and we all know that. We follow the boundaries that are established for us, but we at St. John's, we know there's something bigger. We know there's something bigger. Something bigger for ourselves and something bigger for the community we serve. And it starts right here. And it starts right now. You see, we're not a place that's going to settle for the status quo, my friends. We're not a place that's going to dwell in simply being comfortable. We're not a place that's going to be simply okay with accepting God's blessings and then not expressing gratitude. And we're darn sure not a place that isn't going to share those blessings with people who don't yet have an opportunity to see the fruits of those blessings. If you're like me and you sometimes feel like an outcast, well, here's our chance to step into our calling and to offer back out of gratitude. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to get everything we want. It doesn't mean that we're going to get everything we think we want. But it means that we're going to share what we have with those who need it. And it means it's going to happen even at the expense of our own comfort. We're going to grow in faith and in love. And we are going to be the Church of Jesus Christ in this place at this time. St. John's, we're at a fork in the road. Okay? We have 3 decisions we can make. We can go backward, where we came from, and I don't think anybody likes to go backward, right? But we can go down one path, staying comfortable and staying stagnant, or we can take the other fork and go down the path less traveled, the path of maybe the unknown, but the path of growth and excitement. I'm ready to take that third choice. We have to decide as a parish, are we all on the same page? Who are we? And who are we called to be? Are we called to be comfortable? Or are we called to be so much more than that? I don't know about you, but I want us to be more.